about to give them what they want.
Go Beastmode, dude.
I don't think they're ready for this, though. Beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode, beast mode.
What's good, YouTube? You know who it is. Chris Jones representing Pump Chasers, and you already know. Go on down to TigerFitness.com and get your Pump Chaser subs. We got that GF wave. Alright? We got your pump and grind. I don't see nothing wrong with a little pump and grind. There you go. Pump and grind pre-workout. You want to make the sweetest love to the weights? Fuck with your boy, okay? We got the Intra Pump BCAAs with electrolytes. It's gonna help you stay hydrated. Feel for your workout. Let's get it, baby. So anyway, guys and gals, this video was inspired by my Instagram story fam. Shout outs to you guys. We often talk about a lot of things in my stories, and sometimes we talk about books. And we were briefly discussing in the stories 48 laws of power. Laws like say less than necessary, or laws like don't outshine the master. And I was just saying in my stories, I can actually add some laws. You know, this book was written years ago. I believe in the 90s. Let me look this up. Yeah, that book came out in 98. Look, man. Yeah, man. I believe I could actually add some laws, you know. Book of Beast Mode, guys. Book of Beast Mode coming soon. So I thought it would be a fun video, and people in my story agreed. They gave me a lot of flame emojis because I asked them, let's make this a video. So I'm going to do 2 laws today. Beast Mode laws of power. And I'm going to give you 2 laws. Let's get it. Okay. Law number 1. When you find your recipe for success, whatever that recipe is, lock it down. You treat that shit sacred. You treat it like it's holy. Don't break the recipe. See, just like when we're baking cookies from scratch, I ain't talking about some box shit. I'm talking about scratch. And you bake these cookies, you might notice, something's off. I can add a little bit of this, take a little bit of that. The point I'm trying to make is eventually you're gonna have your shit down by the measurements. 1.5 cups of sugar, this amount of brown sugar, 1 or 2 eggs, maybe 3 eggs. Whatever your recipe is from scratch, when you form the taste, the texture, the appearance, everything you're looking for, you lock that recipe and don't you dare change it. And if anybody wants your recipe, I hope you sell it or get something from it, because you literally put blood, sweat, years, tears, trial and error into this shit, and to just give that away, you're really doing them a favor. A huge favor. If you want to give it away, go right ahead. You know, that's your choice. But if you want to capitalize on it, you can do that as well. The choice is yours. The point I'm trying to make is, once you get that perfect recipe for success, don't you dare change it. And this is not only backed by the laws of physics, but it's backed by the laws of metaphysics and quantum physics. Your life is a recipe. Wherever you're currently at right now, at this point in time in your life, it's the result, point blank period, of every single decision you've ever made in your life. Also, the potential. Notice we have kinetic energy and potential energy. It's all atoms. This world is created with atoms. There's kinetic energy and potential energy. So that potential, your life is created by every decision you've ever made, and the decisions you didn't make, the chances you didn't take. All these things combined, that is why you're where you're at currently in this specific time in your life. And if you're happy with that, keep that recipe tight. Treat it like it's holy. And if you want to improve on it, you keep it stabilized, right? It's just like building in construction. There's got to be a foundation. You have your foundation. You're already happy where you're at. Keep the foundation solid and build on top. But if you're not happy with your reality, you're not happy with your physique, there is something you're not happy with in your reality. It's the result of a recipe. And you can change that recipe until you get where you want to be. That goes for anything in your reality. Financial, your physique, personal relationships that can use some building, some fixing, some construction, whatever the case may be. It's all backed by the laws of physics. It's all energy based. And let me give you a celebrity example. We all know Mike Tyson, I'm sure, right? Iron Mike. There was a time, guys, he was considered like the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Okay? The baddest motherfucker on the planet. Knocking people out left and right. That wasn't by chance. See, there's numbers involved here. For one, Mike Tyson had a lot of dark energy within him. And just like Jesus turned water into wine, there's alchemy. And everything's mental. See, he had a trainer. Customato. See, what bothers me a lot about legends, guys, I feel like the trainers don't get enough credit. There would be no Iron Mike if this man did not walk into his life and put him on some game about the mind. He had him on books. He had him on all kinds of things. He had him on books, taught him how to face fears. This is mental alchemy.
That's why once I got involved with Cuss, I was a young boy, but once he spoke with me every night about discipline and character.
It is the mark of a great fighter when he has character plus skill. Because a fighter with character and skill will often rise and beat a better fighter because of this.
Taught him about the greats of the past, like Achilles, about philosophy. Strengthened his mind. The trainer. A spiritual transformation is supposed to be transformation of the mind and circumcision of the heart. Like Jesus had John the Baptist, peep the game. He transformed Tyson's mind. This was his trainer.
This guy's really crazy. He said, you do what I tell you to do, and if it doesn't work, then you can leave. So I said, okay, bet. So I did everything he told me to do, and I won. I won every championship.
Not only that, Customato had a fighting style called the peekaboo style. And if you watch a lot of Mike's highlights, his opponents are taller than him, typically. All that bouncing around, his opponents have to shoot at a specific angle. That gives Mike Tyson an advantage. Because dodging the punches, at the same time, he's generating power through his hips, through his legs. So as he's ducking, he's actually generating more power to explode on his opponents. Like, there's numbers involved with this shit. Notice this is a genetic advantage. This is all numbers. Mike Tyson was literally in the right place at the right time when he met Customato. This shit was destiny. Destined to happen. Mike Tyson was arrested over 30 times by the time he was 13. That's an incredible record. Yes, it's negative, but that's an incredible record. In the streets, people salute that type of shit. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand. That's a negative record. Notice Customato transformed the man's mind. He took that incredible record, but he turned it into a positive incredible record. Notice, youngest heavyweight champ. 2 incredible records. That's what happens when you take energy and shift it to another direction. The point I'm trying to make is this. Customato had the recipe perfect. Once Customato died, and he didn't have, and Mike didn't have that man, this man, to hold him accountable, Leaks in discipline, leaks in the recipe. He didn't keep it whole. He didn't keep it sacred. He didn't treat it like it was holy. People around him changed. People like Kevin Rooney, someone who knew the peekaboo style. Knew people around. He slacked on his discipline, and he didn't have the right people around him to hold him accountable, because naturally he's not a disciplined man. He's naturally not disciplined. Naturally he was a savage that got arrested over 30 times. He needed to stick with this recipe to keep him from going backwards, back to his natural ways. Notice he got beat by Buster Douglas for slacking on discipline. He didn't take that opponent serious. If he would have stuck to the recipe, I don't care if Cuss was dead, alive, sick, out of town, the recipe does not change until you retire. He would have been undefeated. See, Mike Tyson, he was in beast mode. He had the perfect recipe. Whatever custom model had him on, I don't care if it was running 5 times a week, doing this 5 times a week, eating this, doing that. Whatever Cuss had Mike doing during camp, between fights, whatever system he had, he should have stuck to that system and kept people around him that can help him uphold that system. Help him uphold that system by holding him accountable. I have no doubt in my mind he would have retired undefeated as long as he stayed true to the laws the whole time. That's how energy works. You create energy leaks, that's what happened. Energy leaks. His reality eventually shifted. He got beat by a person he should have never got beaten by, and he eventually got himself landed in prison. Whatever your recipe for success is, stick to that shit. And don't change it unless you feel like you can make it better. I'm all for making changes if you feel like you can make the shit better. But don't make changes for the fucking worse. So that's example number 1. Find your recipe for success and you stick to that shit like it's a religion. Stick to that shit. Treat it like a covenant. Tip number 2. The beast mode laws of power. Start asking people, just try this little habit out. Just try it out. Comment below, let me know how it's working for you, okay? Try this out. Ask people questions that you already know the answers to. Let me tell you, that's gonna give you just so much game about the person, whether you realize it or not.
This is what I want you to do for me. You call Lopez. You call him at his office at 3 o'clock sharp. At 3 o'clock sharp. At 3 o'clock sharp. What time?
3 o'clock sharp.
Okay, good. You gonna answer, Frank? Hey, Frank. You a piece of shit.
I'm not gonna get way off topic, but just like in physics, they have direct measurement and indirect measurement. Get all that game, soak that shit all the way up. When you're meeting people, even your friends, even people you already know, just start asking people questions you already know the answers to and see how they answer. When I was young and coming up and want somebody to teach me something about working out, I would ask them a question they already knew the answer to, and see how they answered it, to see if they even worth me listening to. I'll ask them, I'll be like, what is supination? And why is that important to do when we're training our biceps? And just see how they articulate that shit to me. What does the pec minor do for the pec? I know the pectoralis major is what we focused on, but what does the pec minor really do? And how can we strengthen it? How can we train it directly? What does protein synthesis mean? See, I'll ask them questions that I'll look up. I would look the shit up on Google, get a real good understanding of what that shit means, and I'll ask them. I asked one of the gym bros that's trying to get me under his wing. I'll ask one of these guys that competed in the NPC that's trying to get me under their wing. And let's just say, guys, sometimes these guys would have good answers. And then some of these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they're just saying what the fuck sounds good. And I'm just listening the whole time. Like, okay, cool. I can respect the person that doesn't know what they're talking about. And they'll just say, I'm not really sure, bro. I can get back to you on that. You know, I just know what I know. I can respect the shit out of that versus somebody who's just just saying what sounds good, and then they try to use a bunch of big ass words to throw you off. See, I learned this a long time ago, guys, when I did time in prison. You know, I got out of prison in 2010. I met this guy named Vince. We started this channel called Physiques of Greatness and never looked back. But let me tell you that a lot of motherfuckers, it's kind of like running track. You know how they run, then there's hurdles, and then they gotta jump over them. I would always think to myself, they'll run a whole lot faster. They just push these fucking hurdles out the way. You know, that's kind of what it reminds me of when some of these cats just use unnecessary big words. Now, I'm not saying this about everybody, but a lot of people, they'll use a lot of fancy big words. They call it jargon. People will use a lot of jargon to kind of throw you off, because the average person, I'm hoping you guys aren't average, but the average person is not gonna look these words up. Therefore, they're able to sound smart, and you don't even realize they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like Einstein said, if you know something well enough, you can explain it simple. Some people can't swallow their pride and say, hey, I don't know right now. I'm still on my journey. You know, but let me tell you shit, the shit I do know, bro, can change your life. It takes a level of humility and pushing your pride to the side to be able to talk to people like that. So that's the end of the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think. 2 tips. The first tip, get your recipe for success and don't break it, guys. You have numbers to back that your system is working. Why not just stick to it? And if you're gonna change it for the better, not for the worse. Notice in marriage, they say for better or for worse. Why? Because that's how rituals work. That's how recipes work. Everything is a recipe. And number 2, try asking people questions you already know the answers to, just to kind of get an idea of who you are dealing with. Sometimes we don't get to find out who we're dealing with until it's too late. So if you want a little preview, try to get some raw fucking numbers of who you're dealing with. Don't forget to like my shit, comment, subscribe, and buy 30 of these bitches minimum. Please, pretty please, por favor. Por favor, please, in Spanish, in case you happen to give a fuck. Bam! We need a moment of silence before we fuck up these weights.